So, even while being engaged in all duties and responsibilities, we also remember the fact these things do not last for long. These things may disappear tomorrow. So, what happens? That gives us a unique kind of spiritual wisdom. And that, in a way, convinces us of the transient nature of all that we normally consider to be the most wonderful things in the world. In fact, that actually helps us to cope with the problems of this world in a much more intelligent manner. So let us say, for example, suppose we believe that this body, worldly enjoyments, money and wealth, money put in the bank, all those things are the only things to be considered as valuable. Then the slightest bodily problem will have a devastating effect on our mind. Because we think this body is very important. There is nothing more than this body. For the slightest problem at the bodily level will be a disaster. For those who are interested in music, philosophy, not necessarily even in spiritual literature, those who are interested in creative writing, art, music or painting, dedicating their whole life and energy for reaching a very high level of perfection in those areas, for them a slight bodily problem will not be a very damaging experience. Because even if doctors report you are a cancer patient, a great artist may continue doing his work. It may upset him, but he won't consider his life totally without any meaning or without any value. That's what happens. A person suddenly gets the news from his doctor, you are suffering from cancer or serious heart problems. But if he's a great artist or a musician or a poet or a philosopher, it will certainly be a great painful revelation to him. It will be very painful news to him. But it will not completely crush him the way it could crush a person who has nothing else to do, who doesn't have any higher ideal in life. What does it mean? When we take a promotion in our own interpretation as to what we are, when we interpret ourselves to be something much more than this body, then we can cope with problems of the body and take in our stride. We'll be able to live with it. It may be painful, but still it won't be too much of a dilemma. Now suppose you can take yourself beyond the mind, let us say. Now when you transcend the body, when you go beyond the body, you are able to deal with the problems of the body in much more efficiently. But suppose we can go even beyond the mind. That's what he says. So those who are ignorant to the world, those who are asleep to the world, those who are non-awakened to the world, what it means, they are awakened to the spirit, to Atman. They identify themselves with something beyond the body, and not only beyond the mind, but with Atman. So those who can interpret or identify themselves with something that transcends not only my body but also the mind, they can live with psychological problems more efficiently. So that's why there is no permanent solution for bodily problems at bodily level. At a psychological level, there is some solution. And there is no permanent solution for psychological problems at psychological level. There is a permanent solution at the spiritual level. That's why the Ayurvedic medical practitioners, ancient Indian school of medicine, one text is Susruta Sutras, a number of Sanskrit Piti statements. He says, Prasannatmendriya manaha sosthaga idya vidhiyate. So there are two sections in this verse. One section deals with a definition of what constitutes the ideal physical health. And the second line is a definition of what constitutes ideal mental health. So, samadosha samaknischa samadhatu malakriya. This means when our body, our metabolism, all the systems are functioning properly, there is no disturbance, you call it physical health. In fact, we are actually dealing with the subject of sthita prajna lakshana, means characteristics of a spiritually enlightened person. So, a spiritually enlightened person is the healthiest human being you can conceive of. Not only physically, even psychologically, because psychological health means spiritual equilibrium. Without the help of spirituality, no one can be psychologically in a state of perfect health. The second line defines prasannatmendriya manaha sustha iti abhidhiyate. Sustha means healthy person. Healthy in body and mind. That's the meaning of sustha. Swasthya means perfect health. What it means is, when our mind doesn't declare when it doesn't give declaration of independence, when it doesn't remind you of its existence, then you are identifying yourself with something beyond mind. See, let us look at the body. When do we feel a bodily problem? You have a stomach problem. Your stomach is reminding you, here, I am here. When you have a headache, your head is reminding you. When you have toothache, the tooth is reminding you. Then only you really focus on your tooth. If normal person will not be meditating on his tooth, but if there's a tooth problem, toothache, he'll be thinking about his tooth. So what it means, when we feel anxiety, depression, melancholia, too much of anxiety, too much of concern about various obligations and duties and responsibilities, that means our mind is not healthy. Because mind is telling us, I'm here. When you can ignore your mind, then you are spiritually healthy. When you can ignore your body, then you are enjoying perfect bodily health. So these Ayurvedic physicians, their definition of a perfectly healthy person, bodily, psychologically and spiritually, in a state of perfect equilibrium. It corresponds to the spiritual definition of perfect spiritual health. So that's why such a person, he lives in the world, he is not totally insensitive to duties and responsibilities, not at all. But duties and responsibilities are not lying heavily on his shoulders. He performs his duties and responsibilities. He is very sensitive to his problems and the needs to face those challenges, but he is not overburdened. He is not too much concerned. He is not too much anxious about what happens next. This state of mind is a state of perfect psychological health, and that is possible only for a spiritually enlightened person.